long.
So one of my most scariest nightmares I ever had was I was trapped in this like mansion, and it's kind of I'm going to try to describe it. So it's Victorian-esque on the outsides, and it's a hard wood everything, right? It's very
Yeah.
wooden, and I'm essentially trapped there with a female who I believe at the time was my fiance or girlfriend. It does not matter. She was very, very ugly, but that's beside the point. So all I remember,
like an imaginary fiance.
of course, yes,
Okay.
an imaginary ugly
Yeah.
woman who I was with. Nevertheless, so I have this situation where we are completely trapped. I don't know anything.
What do you mean? What are you trapped? Like trapped in what way?
I like this. Keep asking me questions to clarify. I like it. So, we're trapped by means of the windows are barricaded. Each door is locked within the house, and there's many.
Oh, right. So you're locked in the room. Okay.
So I'm specifically locked in a master bedroom. Okay, and it is a master bedroom. Classically, it's a beautiful big red fleece covering the bed, tall pillars on the bed.
Oh yeah. Is it as if you are living in that time period and everything is in its prime, as in it's beautiful, or is it dusty, as if
it's quite dusty. It seems It doesn't seem it's a beautiful house, very large scale, very expensive, but it doesn't look well cared for.
Right. Okay.
So that's the setting. So I'm in this room with my woman, and we are surrounded by oak cabinets on all walls. So try to picture that. You've got the master bed, you've got all cabinets, and then you've got two windows which are boarded up with planks. Okay.
Oh, the whole wall is just cabinets.
No, there's no decor, there's no ornaments. Wow. It's just wood cabinets all around. And I hear footsteps, and something's running. And I don't know how, but my brain instantly recognizes fear, and something is after me. So then I panic. What do? I start opening the cabinet doors, because I think, okay, maybe one of these is a door. So open one.
Right. Okay.
Do you remember this story? I told you this once.
No, you never told me.
We were living together in university, and I told you this. But anyway, I opened one door. I open one door, and there's loads of DVDs and VHS tapes. Close it. Open the next one. DVDs, VHS tapes. You can see where I'm going with this. The next one,
That's
DVDs,
terrifying.
VHS tapes. And guess what? Then I look closer, and they're all Simpsons DVDs. I'm serious.
Every single one of them.
Every single one of them is like, because let's face it, Simpsons has been around for so long.
Yeah.
So anyway, it doesn't stop. So it keeps building. And then after a while, I realize there's no hope. So I close all of the doors. And then I hear a knock on the door. So then I think to myself, stupidly, moronically, for no reason whatsoever, I should open it. Because, and by the way, I on reflection, this does make no sense. This makes no sense, because all of the fucking things around the room were cabinets, but suddenly there's a door there. So,
Right, but in dreams, things just kind of pop up, and
they just pop up,
and you accept them as the undisputable reality of that.
Exactly.
Moment.
You don't question it because you're not lucid. So you just, okay, that's a fact. So then I opened the door, and then there was more Simpsons DVDs. And then I felt like I was going insane in that moment. And then I looked to my girlfriend, who I thought was standing directly behind me, and then she was no longer there. So at this time, like, if you could picture...
I thought you were going to say, and she was Bart Simpson.
But she was Bart Simpson.
Okay.
Okay,
right.
So at this point, it was a real sanity-driven mayhem piece, because the footsteps, I thought, and so anyway, I'll conclude. So after turning around, she was not there, and then I looked back, and the door was open. So which made, again, this transportive door that was in fact fucking with me. This room, this Victorian beautiful mansion, which is dusty and uncared for. So I step out into the hallway. I look left. It's black. And I can describe this. If anyone's seen the movie Insidious: The Last Key, there's a sequence where there's a really, really long corridor, and it's basically that. It's a specific,
like Grave Encounters. Like
no, because that's more apartment complexy. I'm talking like, think of like high school, like how the classic American high school looks, where you have the really long corridors.
Oh, okay.
Like that. And there was a slight light at the end. Just think of that. And I looked the other way, and it's the exact same. It's almost like a mirror image.
How far away would you say the light was? How far down the hole did it extend?
100 meters. 100
Uh-huh.
meters.
Okay.
Really quite
It's
long.
quite far. Okay.
So then I closed that door and then I walked forward towards the light because I assumed that was probably my way out, actually, I think. And as I was walking, my heart was pounding in my chest and I heard the footsteps again. And I turn around just for a second, a glimpse, and I see what it was that was chasing me. It was a creature. It was an elderly but agile woman in a long, gray, dirty dress. So it's quite freaky. But
Kind of freaky.
like old and agile is a creepy combination, I think.
It's interesting the juxtaposition of Simpsons, though. Like that's so funny.
Well, for me as a kid, I used to watch Simpsons for comfort, for like enjoyment, for peacetime, for relaxing after school, whatever it was. And so I think that's what it represented to me.
Plus, there's the element where the horror comes from like this Victorian era type thing, like it's some kind of creature that lived during that period, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Obviously, that's a long time ago, and maybe your brain somehow equated that Simpsons has been going on for a very long period of time, and they kind of equated to or something like that. That's cool. That could be a very dope, creepy but also funny little short, short. Yeah.
You're right to not let me finish because actually that's where the story finishes. After that, I woke up because after I got, it's almost like your brain realized the most scariest element of this dream, and then it's like, no, that's enough, and then I woke up, and that was the dream.
That is how it consistently happens, right? Like whenever the thing that is most horrible or most terrifying happens in a nightmare, that's when it ends. Actually,
yes, hopefully,
always I've had nightmares when I've been in car crashes or plane crashes.
Really?
And and they always end like when you hit the ground. Or interesting.
So yeah, and I like to think about dreams and like what do they represent, but at the end of the day, they're still a manifestation of your subconscious. So I don't know if I believe in it.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't think they mean anything really. I think it's kind of silly to think they mean something.
A lot of people read into it though.
Yeah, but no, I'm not saying that you can't find out anything by analyzing dreams. I feel like you can, but not because of anything supernatural. They are essentially an extension of your subconscious, and I feel like what they are is thoughts that were going to happen, right? Like you know how you react to everything. Maybe like you saw something, you were gonna think about it in some way, but it was so inconsequential that you instantly moved to something else. And it's kind of like stored in your subconscious, right? It takes up a cabinet in your mind, and it's never to be used again until you dream. And when you dream, all those things start coming out, and I don't know, they get loosely connected. And that's that.
I think it's even deeper than that. I think when you sleep, at least when you sleep, you try to stop thinking about the most important things or the most pressing, stressful things in life.
Yeah.
And then somehow a gate opens to these unimportant and sideline thoughts that just come flooding out. That is the best. I've never heard anyone describe dreams in such a better way as you just did. Well done. That was so well described.
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, but I guess you can, maybe with some specific dreams, maybe you could derive some meaning from what your subconscious kind of threw out there, maybe.
But then are you just playing with
Yeah, you're playing with like the most basic and consequential part of that person. But yeah.
It's not even like from a utilitarian perspective, like to what is its use, but it's like, is it accurate? I don't believe.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Dreams are just kind of like this fun thing.
Have you ever had a dream that was as interesting, perhaps, as my Simpsons endeavor?
No. I don't have. I mean, maybe I have. Maybe I've forgotten it, but I don't remember many interesting dreams like that. When I was a kid, I used to have a lot of nightmares. Like almost every day, I'd have a nightmare.
Really?
Yeah. Don't think about it like it's dramatic or anything. But I used to. I used to have nightmares all the time for a while. I don't know why.
What kind of
but it was stuff like it was always stuff about like my parents dying in weird ways, or the world ending in weird ways, or something horrible happening to me. It wasn't horror in terms of like creepy imagery. It was more of just me fearing horrible things happening. Yeah, that was it. Sometimes the really creepy elements were incorporated. I remember like there was an alien invasion in one of my nightmares, and the aliens were creepy. They looked like you know like the like the plants from Plants vs Zombies.
Yes.
Stuff like that, but imagine like a gross tongue coming out from inside of them. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
So wait, do you remember any more details? Can I quiz you on this?
Yeah, sure.
So there was aliens invading Earth,
Mhm.
or just a country that you were in?
I don't know if, the area I was in, I just assumed it was the whole world. But,
So were they in like spaceships?
Huh?
Were they descending in ships or?
No, they were just taking over. I didn't see how they got there. I just assumed they were aliens because they looked like plants with tongues coming out of them.
Did you dream this from a first-person view of
Yeah.
your?
Yeah.
So what did you see? What did you see? What
I don't know. I was like at school, I think, and they were like coming in through the windows, and they would like put the tongues in people's faces, and like and then those people would become like possessed or something like that. Yeah, it's just basic.
It's a classic kids.
Classic kids thing.
It's very good. Did you at the time? Did you feel fear or did you laugh? I'm curious.
No, I thought it was pretty scary. Yeah, I thought.
I think scary. I would probably find that terrible.
Yeah. No, I mean, for a while when I was a kid, I was pretty scared of the dark. Actually, stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it's a natural.
And then I just wasn't anymore. Yeah.
I had another dream. Would you like to listen? I remember this one as well.
Sure.
I've only ever had two, by the way, that were really visually interesting, I think.
I'm sure we've had more, but we just forgot them.
By the way, I've told you both of these before, but it's fine because we don't remember these.
I don't think you told me the Victorian one ever.
Oh. Have I ever told you about the dystopian theme park?
Yeah, you've told me about that one. Yeah.
Can I tell you again? Because
go ahead. Sure. Yeah. I can't remember all the details.
I don't remember all the details myself, but I remember. I'll try to. You know what's funny? Actually, I used to keep a dream journal because I was fascinated by the abstractness of dreams.
Yeah.
So I tried to denote them and just remember them. And I'm just checking my phone now just to see if I actually. Oh, So I actually do have some of my dream journals here.
No way.
I actually do.
That's cool.
This is another one. This isn't the dystopian role theme park. I wrote this Nightmare 1, Ghost. Using a bed sheet round its head. Ghost would make you look. Next paragraph. In the moments of when you appreciate the art in something, the ghost attacks you and tries to fuck up your appearance.
That's so weird. Wait, so like...
No, wait, hang on. I wrote an example.
Okay.
Example. Admiring the way I can't read this, but I know what it means. Admiring the way a director helms a camera, the ghost then attacks you and wants to ruin your physical and mental well-being.
That's interesting.
So the spirit imitated voices of alive friends and said, someone post something, anything. I don't know what this means.
Someone what? Something?
Post something. I think I mean by social media, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think a lot of people dream about social media. It's a very interesting phenomenon. But anyway, the last paragraph says this.
Well, interesting. Okay. I've never dreamt about social
media. That's how I imagine a lot of these people came up with these films, like Happy Death Day and what else? Unfriended, because a lot of people come up with nightmares. That's my theory anyway. Not saying they're good, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
So this is something I have here. This is the last paragraph. Steve, brackets, can't remember name, has a perfect schedule. He goes to shower, goes to bed, and then he hides at a certain time. In the shower, he gets clown fucked in the mirror with a camera. Dude who uses sheet around head. What does this even? I remember this dream.
I
by
know
the
you've
way.
told me about this before. Do
It's
you
the
remember it
weirdest-
now? I remember your.
So it was. It's
No,
the
but it's funny how like because you started off and it seems like a really interesting concept. Like somebody just has a regular routine, but he has to hide at one point. And then it just switches to he gets clown fucked in the.
look. Anyway, I remember the dream quite well. The whole story was a group of friends in some house. I was one of them, and every day there will be one moment where the ghost, a spirit, tries to embarrass you. It's a weird story, but like everyone can relate on a personal level to being embarrassed publicly. It's a very important thing. And basically, we would all schedule a time frame where we had to hide, like in a cupboard, under the stairs, in a whatever. And there's this moment where Steve apparently tries to hide in the shower and he gets clown fucked. And in the mirror, there's a camera. And apparently everyone uses a sheet around their head. I remember this. Everyone had a bed sheet around their head because they knew it was so hard to hide from the ghost. It was going to embarrass you. So everyone just had a sheet around their head. Now that's a fucked up dream.
You could just tape your eyelids shut and then you would never get embarrassed, right?
I don't know, because your face is. The idea is that it's going to be reposted on the internet. That's the idea.
Okay, I get it now.
It's a classic modern idea, and it's.
Oh well, then the bed sheets make sense because then nobody can recognize you.
I don't know why, but the last sentence in this dream journal is terrifying to me. It says this: "Sat in the eye of the shining." I don't know what that means, but that is. So that's a dream I had.
Interesting. You probably thought about The Shining, I guess, at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's so funny.
I do. Like I tried to analyze this. Like, okay, I have a inconsequential fear of being publicly humiliated, but who doesn't? It's such a ridiculous notion. But it is a terrifying idea that a ghost is malevolent. But not in the way it wants to hurt you. It just wants to fuck your reputation up, you know?
Yeah.
It is interesting.
Seems kind of like a troll, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like if you had a really bad life, you come back as a ghost. What do? Well, I'm gonna fuck people with like in a clown costume and stick it on Facebook.
That's so funny. Honestly, that would also make like a pretty funny dark comedy, actually. Like a Stitches type thing.
Oh yeah. We should definitely make a dark comedy. It would be the best.
Yes.
Ever, perhaps.
Sure. Yeah,
Oh,
that was interesting.
I'm just going to explain the dystopian thing, and then I'm going to shut up because dreams. I don't know why we're talking about dreams, but we are.
Yeah, that was random.
The dystopian theme park thing. Well, I remember recently before I had this dream, I was playing BioShock Infinite. So hopefully that gives a bit of backstory. And it's some sort of floating city, but it doesn't feel floating. It feels like it's supported with big concrete beams. Okay? And it's very noir, very gray. Everything's very gray. And anyway.
Is everything is it black and white? Or is it just... Yeah.
Black, I would say gray and white specifically.
Okay, yeah.
Kind of like marble. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyhow, so we get introduced to this guy, and he's sitting on the roller coaster, and imagine it like it's like a Ferris wheel roller coaster, but instead of going round, it kind of goes along, but it's slow. It's got like a rhythm to it. There's a lot of music. There's a lot of ambience, and everyone's positive essentially, but it feels off. The color, for example.
The color palette. Yeah.
So then the guy's like, "Hey guys, welcome to the best place on earth. Enjoy yourself. Make sure to go on the roller coaster." And he goes off. And then I never see him again. I'm thinking nothing of it. So then I'm on a date at the time with a girl, and we're going around stall to stall. We're buying popcorn or whatever, and then eventually, she suggests us to go on the roller coaster, and I said, "No, let's go on that later."
Why not?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's like I knew something intrinsically was bad about this roller coaster.
Yeah. Granted, that was very creepy. You should go on the roller coaster.
Hey guys, you should go on the roller coaster.
Disappears.
Also, interestingly, I don't know if this is important to mention, but he looked like the Monopoly character.
Really?
So he was like classically capitalist looking, black suit, tie, bow tie, with a top hat, monocule, drink in hand.
The Monopoly guy.
Kind of like the Leonardo DiCaprio. like that, you should go on the
Oh,
roller.
like the Great Gatsby thing. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Mhm.
So anyway, eventually, I don't remember this whole middle section is blur, but I remember the end. Someone tells us that if you go on the roller coaster, you die. You just die. I think you drop off.
Oh,
That's it. That's all I remember. I thought
wait.
that was
So they
interesting.
told you this before you got on the roller coaster?
Yes, I didn't actually get on the roller coaster, which I was like, huh, in the dream I actually didn't die, which was nice.
Made me think of the euthanasia coaster, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that's some dreams I had. I think dreams are cool. I don't have any nowadays though, because I think when you get older, your brain focuses too much on shit you gotta do.
No, you definitely do still have them. You just don't remember them anymore.
Yes. Don't
Yeah.
remember them, which is sad. Oh, I had another one about zombie babies, but I don't remember anything about it.
What is it? We're in Resident Evil now.
I don't remember anything about that. Just there were zombie babies.
What is a game that there's a game with zombie babies in it?
There's many.
Yeah, I mean, there's many, but there's one that we played, right?
Zombie babies. Yes. The forest.
Oh yeah,
They're not zombies though.
Oh yeah,
They're-
cannibal babies. Like, I guess. Yeah.
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 I don't believe that I have any more dreams.
Ever. Just don't have any anymore.
Ever. This is the end of dreaming.
I've sold them all.
So which out of the
Alright.
three I mentioned do you think would be the best movie?
Definitely well, it is also like it is maybe a bit too bizarre with the whole Simpson angle, but I do think the Victorian one is really cool.
I think it's a very good villain as well. An elderly, agile woman is terrifying.
Great setting, but it's been done before, like with the Amnesia games, like the Dark
But
Descent.
it has this kind of psychological element where things move. That hasn't been done that much.
Yeah, like it's one of the creepiest things and most creative things you can do, where aberrations of physics, right? Aberrations of like something is happening here, something is in a way which defies physics. I don't know,
Yes.
like you go through this door and then you go into a place where it shouldn't be there. Like, I don't know, you go into a forest from
I mean,
an
because like,
from
how do you even
complex.
how do you respond to that?
Yeah.
What is the what? All right, I'm gonna ask you a really tough question. Try to answer it. What is your first response in your brain when you see a change in the laws of physics? What is it?
Fuck.
It's not easy to
Well, no,
answer.
probably my first response would be
Confusion,
hey,
or someone's fucking with you.
Probably would be no. It probably would be I guess it's time to go speak to the shrink. It's happening. Yeah.
If a door like just suddenly appeared where you knew there was not a door before, I think first of all you question yourself. You try to be rational about it. Like, okay, was there actually a door there? You ask yourself this question. Then you say
Yeah,
no.
no, my first instinct would be to wonder if I'm starting to forget things or something like that. If there's
No,
something wrong with me.
I wouldn't be.
but-
Would that be your first thought?
Yeah, I guess that says, what does that say about me? I guess if there's something weird, I guess my instinct is to make sure that there's not something going on with my perception. I don't know. But yeah.
I mean, it depends on circumstances, granted, but let's assume that you're healthy. I would think
You
that
don't
someone,
know that, but yeah.
well, you got to be rational. You got to try to employ rationality. Like, I would think someone is screwing with me. That's my first thought. Like, it's a person who's there.
Oh yeah, of course. The first thing would be to touch it to see if maybe it's like if maybe it's like a painting to make it look like it's a door or something like that. But yeah.
And then your next, do you open the door?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I think you do, right?
Yeah.
Because if you die here, at least you found out something.
You know what
new
this
about the
reminds me
universe.
of? So my favorite book is House of Leaves.
Mhm.
That deals with this. I told you, and the whole concept of it is that somebody, a Pulitzer Prize photographer, moves in with his family into a new house, pretty much.
Yeah.
And when he's doing the measurements of the house, he notices the house is actually bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And of course, like his first instinct is to check his tools. His tools are obviously
Yeah.
broken. Changes the tools, same deal. Then he brings in some professionals to do it, and yeah, then they eventually realize
Like
that
substantially bigger,
Hmm?
or
No,
like
no, minute, but it still breaks the laws of physics. Like it is bigger on the inside than the outside. It's even if it's small, it's something that like you're not people aren't equipped to rationalize things of this sort because all
Mhm.
you have is your perception of the world, and if that changes in a way that is universal, yeah. And then they go to a wedding basically, and they go for a few days to a different town for a wedding, and when they come back, there's a new like door in the room where there was not a door, and it opens into like this really tiny cupboard space. And they have camera feeds, and there's nothing on the cameras. One day it's there, and then another day it just pops up and it's there. And of
Jesus.
course, at first they think that there's some kind of prankster who goes around and builds,
As I said,
yeah. Um, and then they find another door, and then that door opens into a huge cavernous dark space, which basically
ooh,
like a huge one, which it goes obviously through what should be the wall of the house, but when you look on the outside, there's nothing there, and it turns into like a huge gallery of like a cave system, and there's something there in it, but it never attacks. You just know it's there.
do you see it, or
You
do you just
never
sense it?
you just sense it and hear it, but it never interacts with you. To make basically the whole idea is that you know it's there, but paradoxically you will never interact with it, and so you'll never be able to know if it's real. But yeah, anyway, it deals with a lot of really cool horror elements like that. Actually, House of Leaves.
I'm gonna say it here if it hasn't already been said, but this is my favorite shit ever in a film. I love this. This is
Yeah,
the most
yeah, yeah.
fucking interesting
Oh,
stuff.
by the way, this is a spoiler. I don't give a shit. But Grave Encounters. Okay, Grave Encounters 2. You've seen one. You haven't seen 2, have you?
Hmm.
Grave Encounters 2 overall is not a great film, really. I don't know why I like these films. I think I have some kind of guilty pleasure of asylum-based horror. I don't know why, but um, I think it's just the fact that it's like one huge space that looks the same, and it's like so dark that you can't really see through it. But you can do really interesting things with it, and the fact that it looks so homogenous means you can get lost, and it plays with your perception. And in the first film, there were elements where they tried to go through the exit, and they
Yeah.
went.
Oh yeah.
You remember that, yeah?
Hmm.
And then it disappears and there's just a wall, and then they go through the main door outside and then it just extends. It has cool stuff
Oh,
like that. Yeah.
I mean,
But
if you haven't seen the movie, the best depiction of it is like the Stanley Parable. It's kind of like this.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
in number 2, it had one of like I can't believe it. It's not an exceptional film at all, but it had one of the most creative, terrifying fucking scares I think I've seen in any movie, any horror movie. Basically, it's the same thing. A group of kids, they go to the asylum to document things. Everything goes to shit despite them joking around at the start, thinking that there's nothing there. That's pretty by the numbers. But there's one point where they escape. They actually manage to escape the asylum, which is really cool. Like I thought that was interesting that they actually managed to do it. I thought it would trap them in forever, but that was like a cool expansion of the lore. And they go to a motel, and they're planning to upload everything. They edit everything, and then have a call with the publishing company, and they say, "Okay, we're on our way to you, and we're gonna sell it." They get in the elevator, and as the elevator closes, you can see this cleaning lady just suddenly, because it has like this air where everything suddenly feels very mundane and normal, and it literally lets the tension move away for a bit, and then it starts ramping up again. The moment you see the cleaning lady, she's just staring right at them, but they don't notice it, but it's terrifying. It closes on her, and from that moment, okay, something is fucked. Elevator door opens, they're back in the asylum.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it. I
Yeah.
knew it.
And
Oh my god.
like that was really cool. I love stuff like that. Yeah.
That sounds like a good movie, by the way. The second one. That sounds good.
No, it's not. It's just that I don't know how. It's just that one scene, really.
Like you could have done this in 100 ways. For example, you could have been in the hotel room and then you open the door to exit into the hallway and then bam, asylum. You could have got on the elevator, like you said, that you see the cleaning lady and then bam, asylum. I love that. There's so many ways. You just need a door.
Yeah, just the idea that they escape the place, they go into what appears to be reality, and then they're back in somehow, meaning that they never actually escaped, which is it's cool. Yeah.
I think doors are used a lot in horror.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're a key thing, and you kind of see why. It's like you can play the reality system again, and then there's a fundamental fear of what's behind the door, right? Like the door behind me right now. If you stare at it, if you stare at the door in your room, ladies and gentlemen, you think about the worst thing you can think of. It does send a shiver down because for some fucking reason, this invention creates so much creativity. Isn't that amazing? Props to you, door. Well done.
I mean, it's a very simple idea. You can't see what's an opaque thing. You can't see what's beyond it. Yeah. Plus, there's the whole element of if you like interact with a building for like your house for a long enough period of time, you know what's going to be behind it, right?
Correct.
And I think it's creepier. Like if you go to like a new place and it has weird things going on, it's not as creepy as if it happens to a place you're intimately connected with, like your house.
Oh, I don't know about that. What the idea? Imagine a film like this. Simple plot: a woman moves into a new apartment or a new house. Let's say a house, and it's maybe a 2-bedroom house with a few decent doors in. One to the living room, one to the kitchen, one to the bathroom. Maybe there's an ensuite. And then you're living there for like 6 months. Maybe the whole film for 6 months is about her life, her love life, her work, whatever. And then suddenly she gets home and there's a new door. Just there. Like the film is already interesting because of this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if it's a house, in a sense, or a building, but yeah.
I think I want to see more horror movies like this, psychological horror movies where they just. What else can you?
That's why the game Silent Hills was going to be so cool. Remember PT? Because PT did that. It was like a loop, and it changed in interesting ways, which you had to piece together. Yeah, it's cool. There is one horror game called Visage, which kind of has a similar thing going. It's very good, but there's not many others that do it.
I mean, I didn't play it, but I saw some guys on YouTube playing it. It looked interesting. It looked interesting. Yeah. Doors. The subject of this podcast episode is doors. Doors. What about windows? Are they scary?
Nah.
They're not scary at all. You can.
There is something. Wait. Okay. There is a way to spin this. There is something about windows in that, especially if you're in an apartment where you're really high up, where I don't know, you can see the outside world, but it's still so far away in a sense. You can see it, but you can't reach out to it. And I think that was utilized in the film 1408. I think it's called 1408. The one with. Have you seen it? You know what I'm talking about?
Is it about a room?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
a hotel room.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it was utilized well in that film because he could literally see the building. He could see through the window outside, but it doesn't provide any comfort, which is cool.
I think a terrible... sorry, I'm just going to move on to an idea from it, though. A terrifying concept is 2 apartment towers, and you're a guy, I don't know, a college guy, just graduated. He's doing a stable job, and he's looking across, and you can see in the opposite building a person. And there's this relationship between these 2 disconnected people behind 2 layers of glass with a distance. And the image you can shoot through, and you can have images from his perspective, and you can have something crazy happen, whatever it may be. Use your imagination. That can be suspenseful as hell.
And then let's say he sees something weird, or let's say he sees a series of weird things, but not enough to call the police. Yeah. And because he's a good Samaritan, he decides to leave his apartment and go through the apartment complex to his room and just speak to that person. And the journey there is creepy, maybe.
I would build up a lot more suspense before, though. What if, at first you're noticing something weird in this specific apartment? Perhaps there's some writing on the window. Like, I'm dead on the window. Something like that. Something generic like that. Yeah. And what if the lighting of all of the flats in the entire building lit up and said, I'm dead? Now I'm already getting shakes, man. That's fucking creepy. All right. Like you can have I down the left side and apostrophe. I mean, you have to be a fucking long building. You get my point, but
Yeah.
and then, what if you just have it? You could have like a smiley face appear on the building throughout where the lights.
Yeah, at that point, I wouldn't be scared anymore. I'd be a little bit like,
No, it's
well,
just gotta be.
somebody's
It's gotta be
somebody's.
subtle. It's
Yeah,
gotta be
yeah, it's
subtle.
got to be subtle. Yeah.
I think the Windows thing.
I mean, it reminds me of another thing which is similar to this. I don't know if you know the creepypasta. There's a creepypasta called Psychosis.
I probably have, but I don't recall off the top of my head. But you can
It's
explain.
basically about this guy. He works in IT and he works remotely. And he works like in the basement of his house, because there's no distractions and he has a lot of work to do, and he'd rather just sit and do it. And so he goes in his basement and starts working, and all the lights are off in there basically because he's just focusing on his work. And then long periods of time pass, and like he loses like touch with the outer world. And it's based on the whole notion of how isolation impacts people.
Mhm.
It can induce psychosis. And then he gets strange calls from friends which don't make sense, and everything starts to get weirder and weirder. And it develops this plot as if there's some kind of alien invasion or something of that sort that's taking control of everyone. And because he's been isolated, they haven't gotten to him pretty much. And it ends where he's in a mental hospital, and some people are talking about how they're helping him and everything, and it leaves it open-ended whether is there an alien invasion where they just finally got to him, they got to everyone.
Was it the Cloverfield Lane movie that's kind of a similar concept?
Yeah,
it's the woman being this time trapped underground against her will, and then she tries to usurp up and get over the domineering kidnapper.
Yeah.
Eventually, she sees that there are aliens.
Yeah, there actually is shit going on.
And it's the same duality. He's claiming there's aliens outside. She's like, I don't believe you. You just want to keep me prisoner for some disgusting purpose you haven't kind of explained yet. She eventually gets up, and then there is, and it's crazy. Yeah.
I think basically the point we're making is about losing the ability to rationalize. Pretty much losing the ability to rationalize is terrifying. Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't seen a movie in a while that's done that. I need my kick now. I need my sugar.
I think the issue is because it's complicated.
It is.
It's easy to come up with like basic ideas, but to put them together in a film that makes sense, it can end up actually being very cheesy and cringeworthy if you don't do it right.
You can like a lot of films always have one great scene. It's like you've got to create the other 95 minutes or whatever how long the movie is.
Yeah.
So. But I think it's not too difficult because you create the character. You don't have to have anything. Let's call it a rationalist until that point that you want to have it. You can just have a character building drama piece, and then boom, shit hits the fan, and then you've got a lot to fill still. Good hour.
I mean, I came up with like an idea for a film once, which kind of dealt with similar themes. It was ultimately, the more I thought about it, it's like a film about isolation, but it's about this guy. One day he wakes up, progresses with his routine, and as he goes,
fucked by a clown ghost.
Right.
I'm sorry.
And as he goes to work, he notices that there's nobody on the street, pretty much, and he doesn't think much about it. Like it's early morning, whatever. He gets at his office, and the power is out, and there's nobody there. And basically, the whole idea is that he slowly realizes that literally the whole city is empty. All of it. It's just him in this city. And like, if he tries to leave, like there's like a huge barricade or something that prevents him from leaving, pretty much. But the twist in this film would be he can still interact with social media. Right? Like he can still go on the internet and view the outside world, but he can't interact with it. He can just view it. And basically the city in which he is in, it's as if it never existed on social media. Like if it's Estonia doesn't exist. So it would basically be about isolation where he can see the world around him, but the world around him can't see him. And they would basically end with him. Basically, he would spend a while trying to figure it out, and eventually he realizes that he's got to find an escape plan. So he just learns using YouTube videos and a bunch of things, books, how to fly a plane. And he steals. He grabs a plane and he flies out. That wouldn't be the ending, but I haven't really thought about what the ending would be. But
Hey, I have some ideas for the middle of it, if I may. You could have it originally like I was thinking about the individual. What does the individual do in that situation? Well, you have no law, so perhaps you could take advantage and try to start stealing. Like maybe he gets excited and he starts thieving the typical objects he's always wanted, whether it's the latest computer he's always wanted. And then eventually you see how that just kind of comes down to nothingness. Like you see the materialistic attitude fade. Like he's almost crying, trying to replace something.
Yeah.
You know, and like maybe let's say after he's stolen enough, then he just breaks down, and then that's the point where like it's like
ultimately.
Can I say one?
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's like a redemption arc. Then like his arc is this: he becomes evil after tragedy, and then it's like redemption. Like okay, how can I actually fix this now? And then that's where he starts studying and
exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because like you can have everything in the world, but really you have to share it with other people for it to matter, or it doesn't mean anything. Really. But yeah, no, I actually did come up with some kind of ending. Like on his journey there, like the sky turns red and it's really stormy, etc. But he still manages to get through, and he actually makes it to another city, and he speaks to air traffic control, and he manages to land the plane. Granted, I would have made the dialogue between the air traffic control and him very bizarre. Obviously,
it's like a Stephen King novel.
Yeah, and he lands, and he crash lands it, but he still survives. And he sees all these elements of society coming towards him, like ambulances, etc. And he sees people, and then it's like a huge relief, and he just lays back and closes his eyes, knowing that he can interact with people again. He opens them, and he's in an empty airport, pretty much. And this is another city wiped off the map. That's how it would end.
Wow.
But yeah.
That's a really cool idea. I hope no one steals it, guys. We're copywriting that. That's under English law. It's copyrighted.
Yeah,
it's really cool. It does seem like a Stephen King piece, though.
You're right. It does very much.
You can think of The Mist almost as a direct parallel to it. It's very cool. Like it's really cool.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking? It could be completely without dialogue.
Yes. I mean,
cool would that be?
It would have to be without dialogue, unless he spoke. He speaks to himself. But yeah,
does like some Tom Hanks with
Wilson.
Just recently watched that, so yeah. Yeah, I love. That's a very cool idea. I think the ideas for that are like the ending. You could go in so many directions.
Yeah. I mean, I did come up with an ending, but then I realized what the implications were, and that's not the whole point of it. I wanted him eventually to just climb up on a skyscraper and kill himself, jump off.
Jesus Christ.
And the moment, and there's like this really cool scene I'm imagining where he jumps off. It's nighttime, right? He jumps off, and suddenly the sky flickers and it's daytime, and there's people looking at him through the window. All of a sudden, there's people there. They're looking at him, and he falls down and he dies. And then people report on him saying that all of his identification is fake, in a sense. It's accrued to a country which doesn't exist, and nobody knows who he is. And an investigation is made, and then there would be like this ending montage where, like, for news reports of people talking about this new epidemic of people without identification killing themselves. And it would be like a little overarching story.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I had an idea for how it could end, but I think that's so much more satisfying. So I'll tell you mine anyway.
Before that, the reason I don't like it is because it kind of seems like it's some kind of puff piece about mental health and suicide.
Yeah.
Which is not the point of the story, despite that's what it seems to be.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's more about society, and it's more about what it means to be connected. It's very.
It's about really the positivity of not being isolated. Actually,
it's like how every noise and affiliation means something, even though you don't think.
Exactly. Yeah.
Idea for it though. So he crashes the plane again. This is coming from a city with no populace at all.
Yeah.
Crashes the plane in another city. What if then, as you said, he's like coming from the wreck, kind of disorientated, coming to, and he sees like ambulances running towards him, and he's maybe he's kind of near the entrance to a big city area as well. So he's kind of like just in a field,
Mhm.
as unbelievable as that may be.
Yeah.
And what if he just gets out of it? Like, and remember, he was stealing a lot of stuff. So maybe he's just still, he runs at the people, like happy to see them, like, oh my
Mhm.
God, it's so good to see you. And then he's a public nuisance. And then he gets arrested.
Yeah.
And then he's just like in prison, happy as hell. And he's like, he's got like a cell buddy and he's just happy. Like that would be a good ending
That's
too.
actually amazing.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Yeah, that's really dope. Just the image of like a smiling dude in prison. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
What an episode this has been.
Yeah.
Any final
Okay.
thoughts? I think this was the most fun I've ever had in a recording. We should talk more about abstract stuff like this again. So this was a psychological piece on dreams, on movie script ideas that are copyrighted.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable. Follow us on our social media or don't. We don't care. But we like talking. You guys can talk too. How you doing, Pete?
I'm still doing good. Yeah, I'm still doing good. I'm still okay.
Sauvignon Blanc out.
Out.